What's up guys, welcome back. Now in this video we're going to be discussing the latest news on the Legend of Zelda series, including two pieces of information we're going to discuss and a new rumor I'm going to share with you. So it's going to be an interesting discussion to say the least, so let's get started. Now, first of all, the news at hand is of course the Legend of Zelda next game has been confirmed as in development from series director Aonuma already. And this came way from the latest entry in the Zelda book series entitled Breath of the Wild Masterworks. And it was released in Japan just a few days ago, and we got a translation. It was leaked on Twitter, or not leaked, but shared on Twitter, and it was talked about from Aonuma confirming that the next game is already in development. And as we know, his team focuses on the 3D games, the main core series games that are released by Nintendo. Breath of the Wild was the last game, of course, they released, and it won Game of the Year of 2017 from the Nintendo Switch and the Wii U. Now, he confirmed that the game is already in development. So while this isn't really a surprising news, this is kind of interesting because this is confirmed in a book that was released in Japan a few days ago. So obviously this was already done a little while ago, and it's being confirmed to the public the game is already in development. Usually after Zelda games finish though, the next game in the series does start development. And it is interesting because if you recall, when Zelda Breath of the Wild was released, Aonuma said a few things about the game. He said he was proud of it, but he did wish that he could add some more things to it, and he also said he had a lot more ideas for the next game, and he felt that he could do even better in the next game in the series. So that's very, very exciting that they're already starting on this new game and they already have these new ideas probably in place. And on top of that, we may be having two Legend of Zelda games come into the Nintendo Switch in the not too distant future, because back in February, you may recall, Aonuma was also asked point blank if they were considering bringing another 2D game out for the Nintendo Switch. And he said it was a definite possibility and he was interested in doing that, and that the Nintendo Switch bridges the gap between 3DS and of course the home console aspect, being that it's all on one system. So he was very, very excited about the possibility of having a 2D Zelda game on the Nintendo Switch. So this could be confirmation that there is two Zelda games in development for the Nintendo Switch, and of course we don't know which one will release first. But as we know, there are always two separate teams working on 2D entries and a team working on the 3D entries, which is his team. But Aonuma does offer advice and oversight over the 2D Zelda team as well for the handhelds. So that team being now on the Nintendo Switch could in fact make it very easy to have two Zelda games relatively come out back to back in a short period of time. So the question now raises is how long exactly has the new Legend of Zelda game been in development? I'm talking about the 3D game, the mainline game that Aonuma was working on. How long has that been in development, you may ask? Now, the rumor I heard, now this dates back all the way to 2016, when I was at E3 in 2016, I played Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. The rumor I heard at E3 that was going around made a lot of sense at the time. It was that the game they were showing as playable on the Wii U back in June 2016 was basically finished. The core game was completely done, and they're only giving you a time limit to play on at E3. So the entire game was already finished almost a year before the game was released. And I remember playing it at E3, and the game basically was nearly exactly the same as it was in the final retail version that I also played on the Wii U as it was at E3. Had the same type of performance, it was good enough, had some, stuttering here and there, but it was the same type of performance that you got on the final product. So in all intents and purposes, it did seem like the final game, and it did match up with the rumor I was hearing at the time the game was completely finished. And of course, it's well documented also that for the Nintendo Switch version of Breath of the Wild, there is some optimization they need to do for the system because there's a different architecture, and of course the localization time period and everything, all handled by different people, obviously, than just the core main Zelda team. And I also heard way back at that time at E3 that the team was already well underway on their next Legend of Zelda 3D game following Breath of the Wild. So of course at the time I didn't feel, for obvious reasons, that I should share that information, but now that it's been confirmed that they are in fact working on the game already, I feel that it's okay to share that piece of information that I heard over a year ago, about a year and a half ago, at the last E3 in 2016. So I thought that was really cool, and what that could mean for this Zelda game coming out from Aonuma and his team is that we could be seeing it a lot sooner than we think. We could be seeing it and released as early as 2019, because when you think about it, if they've been working on this game since early 2016 after they wrapped up with Breath of the Wild, without having them sit around and wait around for the next piece of hardware, because they already knew obviously what it was. So I'm really excited to see what the next Zelda game will be like. Personally, I hope they take the sci-fi elements, fantasy elements even further in the next game. I hope they do something kind of similar to maybe a little bit of like Horizon Zero Dawn, basically, and having more of a sci-fi aspect in it. Because if you remember Breath of the Wild, of course, the game does have some seemingly sci-fi elements in the game already. I think that they could pull that off really well in a new setting, and, you know, take the series in an even further direction, having Hyrule, you know, be way far in the future, for example, have more futuristic elements. I'm a big sci-fi fan, so don't get upset with me for, you know, wanting something a little more sci-fi related. I really like sci-fi, and they could do something like that with Zelda and add the fantasy into it. And they can also have different timelines, of course, in the games. You can go back in time and play back in the old school Hyrule, or then go forward in time and play in the futuristic, dystopian future Hyrule. Who knows? You know, it's just an idea. But I think they have a lot of options they could take the series in the future. They have a lot of improvements they can make in the gameplay of it from Breath of the Wild. Obviously, Aonuma said himself he would like to improve some things, so there's a lot to look forward to in that, and we could be seeing it sooner than we think. So that's the latest on The Legend of Zelda, the next in the series, and we could be seeing 2 games on the Nintendo Switch in the not too distant future, one 3D and one 2D. So let me know how excited you are for that and what you think the next Legend of Zelda could be based on. Alright guys, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter at smetalldave64, and I'll talk to you guys very soon in the next video. Have a great day.